Well, folks, another episode of Burning Platform, and this is an absolute thrill. I get to invite two of my former Gartner colleagues, and we're going to talk, and they're both at Salesforce now, and going to talk about a sneak preview of what's coming at Dreamforce. Michael Maoz and Ed Thompson. Fantastic to have you guys together. It's been good catching up in the last couple of weeks, and I look forward to more of this. But let's talk about Dreamforce. Michael, kick it off. First of all, introduce yourself, your role at Salesforce, and then let's kick it off.
Yeah, okay, thanks. And thanks for having me. Ed and I getting together is really a thrill. So my journey at Salesforce as an employee started 7 years ago, but I was 21 years at Gartner, where I was one of the founders of the CRM team, along with Ed. And Dreamforce has gotten bigger and bigger, but now we really have become a very focused event. And what I really love about Dreamforce, and I hope everyone's going to be enjoying it as much as I am, it's there are really two factors. The first is what is new, and the other is to get psyched up about it. And I think if you really look at how it's put together, you'll really find the structure. I mean, my role at Salesforce is really interesting because I'm in a group with Ed called Market Strategy, and we have the luxury and really the privilege to go out and meet customers. We're mostly customer facing. In any one given year, we might be in front of maybe 75 to 125 customers really digging in. And we try to bring that feedback back into the product group and into the rest of the organization. So being at Dreamforce, you really get to see the pulse of what everyone's feeling.
Fantastic. By the way, I had John Dashek in one of the episodes, but we talked more about analysts and what a pain in the butt they are. So I'm just kidding. No, he was very good. Ed, introduce yourself.
Ed, yeah. So I saw John yesterday, John Tashik, our boss, our mutual boss. So I joined 2 years ago, 27 years at Gartner in the CRM team as well. Started watching Salesforce in the year 2000. I think it was like 1 year old. My claim to fame is going to Dublin, meeting 3 people from Salesforce and writing my notes, which were "this company is toast." So I kind of view that as a bad piece of analysis, I guess. It's not a good sign. I now work for the company. Yeah, the Dreamforce, I went to one when there was about 3,000 or 4,000 people. I think Michael went before me. And I don't know how many it got to 70,000 at one point. I think one key thing I would say is the Salesforce Plus thing, the channel, the sort of digital channel, has hundreds of thousands, millions of people watching. So that's if you can't get there, then watch the Salesforce Plus would be my little tip for the top by the beginning, because it's quite constrained how many people can get there. The buzz is fantastic. I love going, but you don't have to go if you can't get there.
The other side note, I was there last couple of years, and San Francisco cleans itself up for Dreamforce. Mark's influence is dramatic, right? So it's always good to go there when the city is putting up
tidy,
right?
Yeah,
in a lot of ways, right? It just feels welcoming and so on. So that's another reason to go for Dreamforce. Well, Michael, I know Mark has been on Jim Cramer and he's talked about a bunch of stuff. He's leaked a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he has, deliberately.
Highlight for me would, your main teams that you think you're going to talk about at Dreamforce.
Yeah, you can really see it in the way that the days are built. All right, so if you look at the first day, you're going to see he's going to open up and talk about the AI enterprise and really moving people's focus from what are we trapped in? We're still trapped in forms, and the forms are filled with fields, and the data is fairly static. And what he's going to try to really get in front of people is why are we so excited about this thing called Agent Force? Is that all that stuff kind of falls by the wayside. And we're in a generation where now we're going to have AI, and specifically this new generative AI tied to predictive, as your coworker. And in the past, like, yeah, whatever, thank you. But this is real stuff. This is where I can go to as a salesperson and say, hey, I'm going to Boston next week. I have time for 7 visits to clients. Could you pick out the top 7 that have the highest likelihood to close with over, pick a number, 100,000 in AOV? or new contract value, and then can you craft me an email that I can send out? Now that sounds like really crazy stuff. And today with an agent force, this set of agents, you can do that. So he's going to take this world of static data and describe it as this world of data which is alive in the old user interfaces, which we all grew up with. As my daughters like to say, it's where dreams go to die, is enterprise software. And instead something that's really what you would really want. So I think that's the first day. And the second day is going to be all about data, because we'll talk about it later, but it's how do you trust the data when the data you have is tucked away in these unstructured sources, and it's in structured sources too, but are they relevant? Are they up to date? Are they synchronized? And how do you create that kind of unified piece of data? And then the third day goes into trust. So if we've talked about the new world of Agentforce and the AI enterprise, then we've looked at data and its centrality in pushing that agenda forward. Then we look at the third day of how do we build trust into all of our AI, trust in that data, so that we can reach that vision of the AI enterprise.
Michael, you touched on the helping the salesperson. That's a great use case, right? Takes a lot of the mundane stuff away. But one of the things that Mark talked a lot about was customer service impact.
Sure.
Do you want to touch on some of that? Or are we going to do that down the line?
We can do those too.
Go for it.
We've already gotten 20 or 30 of our customers in these really nice cases where we can look at them. And customer service is, of course, it's a big place to go, because unlike salespeople who are really untethered, most service people, unless you're talking about field service, which also, by the way, has 5 or 6 amazing use cases that we're working on right now. We'll be doing panel discussion and roundtables on that exact thing. But we've already seen case deflection, and we've seen case deflection on average, not like some have 5 and one has 80, but 30% case deflection, which is huge. And that's at the same time, almost the same level of 35% CSAT improvements. You'd say, oh, maybe you deflected it to AI, to an advanced chatbot, you might fear customer sat would drop, but in fact, it's held steady or went up. And the same thing is a concurrent drop of 20 to 30% in labor costs. And we've seen some of this stuff where you look at a customer service center of 200 or 250 agents over time as they go out. It's not that you're firing people, it's they leave. There's a natural attrition rate of 20, 30, 40%. And I've seen 100% turnover, by the way, in service centers. And you're hiring back a different class of person, and you're also replacing them with this digital coworker. And so we're seeing that case resolution times are dropping in 20, 30, 40%, which also means you look at the economics, 20% drop in the overall cost of a case across an entire service center. And you can multiply out how much that costs. And then one of the last things I'm seeing in customer service is using the AI and the generative AI as an onboarding tool, as a training tool. And that's really amazing, because if you look at a call center, sometimes it's 5 or 6 or 7 weeks, depending on the nature of the support center. If the more advanced, the more complex, it can take even longer. It can take months. Using our tools like Agentforce and some of these initial ways, we're seeing training time drop by 30, 40, 50%. So all together, in using case summaries or recording calls and then analyzing what they were, teasing out the sentiment, looking for opportunities for upsell and cross-sell. I could go on for the whole time. I'm going to stop right there. But you get an idea.
One of the things that really struck me when Mark was presenting was seasonality at Wiley, right? The publishing house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, in the summer, when kids are going back to school, that's when their labor needs spike. And he said, instead of hiring more people, the new agents, the new digital agents can actually help their customer service. So that was.
I think that'll be one of the first places. Yeah, I think because if you're worried about job losses and what that might cause internally with the pressures on employees and people getting stressed, it's less stressful if you're thinking about, I don't know, Black Friday, or it's the start of the new tax year. There's all these peaks and troughs that go on, and you can see the companies in there are going, yeah, that's when I want to put in these agents technologies, these digital employees. But then I don't need to hire everyone and then lay them off again, or temporarily hire a lot of people. So I think that's going to be one of the first places you see a lot of companies doing this.
One of the nice things that I saw with Mark is we've been talking Gen AI for about 18 months now, right? And the use cases have not been very compelling from an economic perspective, right? I mean, sure, you can develop better employee profiles, you can do better emails from automated emails and all that. But I thought Mark brought out the payback when he was talking about open tables, when he was talking about Kaiser and their EMR access and so on, that I haven't seen too many application executives do very well. So that was kind of encouraging. Because Wall Street is obviously hammering away of saying GPUs are so freaking expensive and hyperscaler expectations are so expensive. Talent is so expensive. Where are we going to get the payback? So it was good to see Mark bring out the payback. And hopefully you guys will have lots more case studies at Dreamforce.
Yep. You'll see a bunch of them.
Am I speaking out of turn?
Yeah, no, you'll see a bunch of them. You mentioned Open Table, but you'll see people like Inter, which is Banco Inter in Brazil, where they're going to talk about a 20x ROI on marketing campaigns using our stuff, or Turtle Bay, which has been, I think, soft announced in different places. They did booking conversion rates, and they're going up like 20%. And I had the privilege of sitting with Heathrow during our World Tour London, and they talked about call handling times going down by 25 to 30%. And these are real pieces of data with great case studies behind them. And what's really interesting, Vinny, is that it's not Service Cloud or Marketing Cloud or Sales Cloud. What's happening is, because people are building all these capabilities of generative AI, what we're calling Agentforce, on top of our data layer, it gives you a unified and trusted way of doing things, so that everything you do on our platform and then through Data Cloud is now something you can expose through our Commerce Cloud, through our Marketing Cloud, through our Sales Cloud, through our Service Cloud, through your field service. So, and by the way, for your coders as well, which we're doing a tremendous job in our development organization, using eating our own dog food, if you use that expression. So you're going to show a bunch of cases, some of which we're not going to talk about right now, because Mark and the others are going to, I don't want to steal their thunder, but suffice to say, these are all things with really compelling economic outcomes at the end of them.
Yeah, I think actually, Vinnie, I was going to say that I think an important thing is that, remember the old Jeffrey Moore's crossing the chasm thing? I think last year was the first 2%. It was companies, there was a lot of experimentation.
Yes.
It was the early adopters. This year now, we're getting sort of 10, 12% of companies are scaled up. I'm not saying people haven't experimented. Everybody's experimented, but I think the scaling up is the interesting bit. Scaling up and show me the ROI. And what we're getting to now is the show me the money and show me that scaling up, making this stuff work. And we're just starting to approach the early majority of companies, the big companies starting to think about this, about how you're going to make this stuff work. So they all want to see show me the money, show me the ROI, show me the cost, and show me how you can actually prove the value. It's not about playing around anymore. That was last year. This year, the chief exec is, well, they're firing CIOs and people are appointing CAIOs. I like to joke they get appointed by the CIO to protect themselves in case they get fired. They can point to the CIO and fire them into trouble. But it is getting to the point of, we need some evidence now.
You mentioned Data Cloud a couple of times. I was blown away last year. David Schmeier presented 2 years ago, and I was like, well, we'll see how it scales. I was already impressed last year when Jujar was talking about some of the numbers. Now looking at the numbers, they're like mind-boggling. You're talking trillions now, right, of data points. Talk a little bit about that. And also, the number of clouds you have keep growing. You have a revenue cloud, now you have all the other sales and marketing and customer service and so, but talk about the Data Cloud. I don't think people quite realize how massive an explosion you've had in data points. Yeah, either one of you.
Jump in.
You go first. Go on.
All right. I feel like he said.
She said, yeah.
We should add that. Yeah, you're right. I think that if Vinnie was really thinking, he would have thought of that ahead of time. But yeah, first of all, what you're talking about is scale. We can scale massively, unlike any company. When I say unlike any company, we're not trying to own your data. That's not our game. That's not what we're here. We're not building it so that we can charge you to store your data on our system and have it all trapped. What Data Cloud is not even a traditional database the way people think about it. That's one thing that when they look at it, they go, oh, I get it. It's a data ingestion engine. I can take the right data from the right sources if it's 2 or if it's 200. And I can make sure that I've created, and I'm sure of the identity of that person. People traditionally misspell my name, even though it only has 4 letters, and mispronounce it if you're using voice. You have your name printed in different databases, different ways, but I can come and I can say, I can be sure of the identity of that person. And I can be sure that this information is the contextual information. And so for us, we can do this, and of course with 0 copy, which is tremendously important because we're not copying your data, we're ingesting it for the use of our systems. And if you look today, you're right, we're up to over 1 trillion different data interactions. By the way, predictions, it's also in the trillions, which is a pretty amazing thing. You'll see all that stuff published there. But that's not our point. Can we scale? It's can we be precise? Can we bring precision? So when you're running a marketing campaign, when you're looking at the salesperson being able with confidence to put together the right offer, they can use our revenue products to put together the right thing with the right pricing, understanding the promises made, understand that this is the right SKU that exactly meets their needs, and get it out to them across the right channel. So Data Cloud is that, think about it as a data ingestion engine, which then has any kind of trigger you want using predictive or generative AI to get actions done.
Yeah, I think I was trying to think what I could add to that, and I think 2 data points to add to that are important about Data Cloud. One is there's 3,000 developers working on it. I think the reason I say that is if you go and what everyone tends to look at is Databricks and Snowflake, those kind of guys, and we've got more developers than they have working on this stuff. But it's seen as just one part of Salesforce, but it's a lot of people working on it. So I think there's a general perception that Salesforce just buys things. Made 117 acquisitions in like a decade, but the last 3 years has all been organic investment. And those 3,000 developers are building a heck of a lot of stuff. And they've built a vector database into it, so you can do the unstructured data. But I think the key point is also metadata. So the thing that we are being we're open. So you can pull in data from multiple different sources. We only want to pull in the data you need in order to get an action, to get something activated, to make something happen for a customer. But so we don't need all the data. We just need bits of data that's the most powerful and useful and precise that delivers a result. But it is very specific about the metadata. So in other words, it's basically forcing you to map that data to the Salesforce metadata, which has different industry versions. And by the way, you can extend that metadata. So, but the thing is, the metadata is very powerful because it creates context for generative AI. And I think a lot of people underestimate that.
And another thing that is not as well known is how many verticals you've gotten into. Because I present several times, I would get that update more often than most people realize. But when people think of verticals, they think of SAP as the dominant player. I'm just impressed how many industry clouds you have at this point. So,
and I think where you're going,
I keep losing count.
Is that we're not only in industries, we're in those sub-industries, and I think that's the important part, right? So you can call it health and life science, but we all know that's well, which one are you talking about? The people who manufacture the diagnostics equipment, or are you talking about the health providers, or are you talking about the clinics? So we're on multiple levels within an industry. And I want to make one more point about your Data Cloud, and of course our trust layer, and that is the RAG technology, because everyone has everyone can do the same kind of augmentation for the retrieval. Think about what that really means. But RAG in the context of Salesforce is something really unique, and for no other reason, just for energy. Ed gave me this great example. If you put into ChatGPT 2 questions, you have enough energy, you've wasted enough to charge your iPhone from dead to full. That's a crazy statistic. But what ours is doing, what our retrieval augmentation is doing, is restricting that search from these LLMs, which are monstrous, right? Billions and billions and billions and billions of parameters today. But we're now getting it to this customer, this set of products, this precise piece of content, and then we're doing the dip into the LLM after we've put in this very contextual and intentional filtering. And you're going to see that at Dreamforce, how that makes all the difference between what we're doing and those kind of guardrails as well around industries, so regulation, governance, and what everybody else is doing. And you're going to see it sets us apart in a really big way.
You know, the other thing I've noticed about your industries is because you're like a fast follower, you didn't have all the industries 5 years ago. Is
Oh,
your
yeah.
focus on the contemporary stuff, right? So when I talk to your auto folks, they'll be talking about, hey, we're looking at direct to consumer, right? The Tesla model, which a lot of other people are still going through the traditional retail dealer model and so on, and much more focus on EV architectures and so on. So it's not always bad to be a little bit late, but
Yeah, that's true.
your industries are actually pretty impressive.
It's under recognized. Yeah, most people aren't like you. They don't really track the industry clouds, and they keep popping up. So another one, you know, we now got the pharma one, which is more recent. But yeah, I would also describe them as they're not back office, they're front and middle office.
Middle office.
Is kind of, I think, what Salesforce does. Yeah,
Absolutely. So Michael, Agentforce, I mean, that's clearly going to be the big talking point. Are there any unique aspects of that you want to bring out now?
Absolutely. And if you missed it because you were sleeping under a rock, it's going to be our AI landing. That's part of our national forest, right? This place called AI Landing, as in, you know, a mooring. And you're going to see our co-founder Parker Harris there, and an amazing group of people. Like, we have people from the co-founder of Anthropic and AI Now, and we have I think we have Richard Stocher coming along. We have the people from NVIDIA, the chief scientist of NVIDIA, Hugging Face. They're all going to be there to kind of show their vision of where this can go. But the other thing, I think I'll call it take an agent home, right? That's the new swag, take an agent home.
really?
Yeah.
I don't know this.
Yeah, so we have signups right now where you can build your own agent force to take home with you, right? You can go into our environment, you can sign up, you can do it if you haven't done it already, and you can actually go in, work with our experts. We have something called Brain Date, which is also awesome, where you can have a date with an expert, but you can be in this in our lab. You can sit down, you can build your agent, and that's, again, I call it the new swag. You can take that back to your business on Monday.
Wow, that should be fairly impressive. And the physical manifestation will be obviously in all your. You know, I love how Dreamforce, you take over downtown, and the just everything is a common theme. The national park theme and so on. So I'm sure it'll manifest itself in the physical side too. And
I'm going to bet there's going to be a lot of sunglasses. As soon as you start using the word agents, you start to saying, you immediately think Agent Smith, don't you? That's what I think of. Agent Smith, the Matrix, and sunglasses. And certainly I'm expecting to see lots of people wearing sunglasses.
Are you prepared to say, is there going to be a new mascot? Is that
I don't think it's going to be a new mascot, no. But I think there'll be a lot of people and things wearing sunglasses.
I disagree. You know what? And I think there's going to be some variation of something. We have to. Come on, like, I have swag.
That's true. There's got to be something. Yeah,
I got to
right.
add to my collection over there.
There'll be something.
We're remiss. We haven't even mentioned that we're having, I think about like left brain or right brain or something, but we have a really cool cast of people talking about sunglasses. And if you look at on one side, we have incredible entertainers who are coming. Many of them, interestingly enough, have two sides to them, right? I mean, they have the great actor like Edward Norton, but he's also been a founder of companies, and like Zek. We have him. We have John Mulaney doing comedy. We have Dev Patel, the actor, if you remember him. Jane Goodall, I guess is now Dame Jane Goodall, who I met like 40 some years ago in Munich. So she's got to be in her 90s, and she just has this beginner mind. Who else we have? Kate Hudson.
Time Magazine has the AI 100, and they've got a bunch of Hollywood folks and so on. I bet you 40 of those will be at Dreamforce this year.
There's a good chance of it.
So on that side, we've got all these kind of entertainer people who also have very deep views of AI and have very deep views of privacy, right? And then on the other hand, we have all these amazing experts coming in. So we have the CEO of FedEx. I think we have the CEO of McLaren. I think we have, obviously from Time. I don't know how we got that person. And Thropic, got one of the founders of Hugging Face. So on one side, you've got all these fantastic, also the managing director of McKinsey, these great deep business thinkers, and you've got these great big folks who are out there in the media world, and we're bridging that to bring it together, and it should be really, really exciting.
Well, you mentioned entertainers. You mentioned some of the technology celebrities from NVIDIA and so on. You usually have a lot of musicians. You have a lot of what else in terms of entertainment?
First of all, when I said Yoshiki, I didn't get the big like, oh. But if you went to Tokyo and you mentioned Yoshiki, if you ever go on YouTube and just look up X, his original band, he was the drummer. I mean, he was like the Keith Moon of, only he's still alive, of Japan, and amazing, like Pink Coming and others, and they're always surprised.
Did he tear up hotels as much as Keith Moon did?
I can't tell you, but he's also an amazingly gifted classical pianist with it's like Carnegie Hall. He's really
I didn't know that.
And he has millions of followers, and he's a great philanthropist as well.
Well, it just sounds like just an amazing time, and so I gotta ask you, both of you, all of us used to endure 6 days partner symposium, right?
Oh yeah.
Exhausted at the end of that. How are you at the end of Dreamforce? Put that on that scale.
I'm psyched. You know, at the end, I always get there and I feel like I've been renewed. It's literally for me like going to a spa treatment, because you think, oh, it's exhausting. I suppose on one side it is, but if you think about, that's just the physical aspect of it. If you think about it mentally and really emotionally, like you can just, I go into the center and I sit with the monks every day for meditation. That brings you really up. But also the privilege of getting to see these incredible minds. And I mean, our customers too. Like I'm leading panels with different people and roundtables, and you know, people step out of their life. They fly in from Midlands, Texas to share. I mean, these are the people that have to roll up their sleeve, and we're delivering the inspiration. And I always joke that, you know, but they're doing the perspiration, right? They're doing the hard work of translating, of doing the change management, of doing this kind of sedulous day-to-day improvement. It's the, you know, better, never best that we embrace as well. But that is really cool when you see how technology actually changes people's careers, and also to see that there are 40 or 50,000 people at any one time there, and they bet their career on Salesforce. I mean, you can't imagine what that's like. 40, 50,000 people, of course, 200,000 outside of that overall, and then you got another million. And they have said, this is what I've embraced as the tool to make this connection with my customers and to make my employees' life better. It's very touching, and you feel a deep level of gratitude just to be there.
And you know, like you say, the million virtual and the trailblazers who show up, their excitement and the energy at Dreamforce is usually just.
I think that's the key word, energy. I think the key word, it must cost. Energy is the key word. Yeah, that's it. To me, I think it changed about maybe 15 years ago, and it went from. I remember the first time I turned up, because I've been to a couple before, but it sort of changed. It changed, and it stayed the same way. And I think every other tech vendor event is now judged by it. What I mean by that is it's like going to a big party. It's slightly weird. You turn up and you go, what the hell is going on? This is a software vendor having this. So having DJs playing and bands and music and entertainment, and the energy level is ridiculous. It's weirdly, I never feel tired though. I don't feel exhausted when I leave. I just feel, as you say, kind of upbeat. It's a bit over the top sometimes. So one of the things I like recommending is going to back to the core session. That's where you have the people talking about what's not working and what they want fixed direct to the board, senior executives of the company. You sit there going, wow, word, that's transparent. So you get the nitty gritty stuff, and then you get the wow entertainment. And it's the main problem is picking what to go and see. There's like 1,300 sessions, like any big tech event, but I think it's energy that makes it different. That kind of wow, it's like a big party.
Yeah, one thing I would kind of also close this off with, Vinnie, is underneath it all, there's this layer of we're actually trying to do good for the world. And I've worked at a lot of companies, just as
Absolutely.
both of us have, but we're always coming back to the planet, about sustainability, about the have-nots, about creating an ethical environment for us within Salesforce, with all of our customers and all of our customers' customers. And we do try to transmit that, to use Ed's word, that energy out. So we're radiating, think about it as almost the bass note. You got McCartney on bass. That's always going in the background, is that this is something other than technology. This is something we're really trying to open people's eyes to. What are we ultimately here for as businesses, right? We're to give back, yes, to do well, but also to help others do well. And I think that comes through even in the name Dreamforce.
Well, it comes through in most everything Salesforce does. Yeah, sometimes not always positively, given all the issues San Francisco has been having, but God bless Mark. I mean, he doesn't mind sticking his neck out on a lot of issues. So you may not have to agree with him every time.
Yep, it comes from the top.
Yeah. Well, guys, what final thoughts? Summarize it for me.
I'm going to say there's one word: Agentforce. Actually, here's my little summary. So the big message is Agentforce, but I think two other things I'd throw in. One is there's about 71 use cases that Salesforce is using of generative AI and agents already. And so a lot of customers are coming to find out what Salesforce is doing with this technology inside. So I think that's kind of interesting. And there's also 500 features in the latest release, which gets completely ignored.
And are you ready to share that?
Sorry?
Are you ready to share that with the world, or are you going to keep that to yourself for a while?
Oh yeah, no, it's being shared. There's going to be how Salesforce uses Salesforce sessions at the event. Yeah, so but I'm not going to give any metrics or anything. But the guys delivering it will be. And the other one, I think there's lots of little things that get overshadowed by the Agentforce. One of them is something called Foundation, which got announced last week, which I think is actually quite important, but most people are kind of missing. And Foundation is basically saying we're giving you the foundation layer of Salesforce, all the applications into every customer. So what I mean is, you buy marketing, you're going to get a bit of service and sales if you want to switch it on. So it's kind of a way for customers to try things out rather than having to buy another application. But that's kind of that'll be swamped by Agentforce. Will be 75% of what you hear. And
even Data Cloud will be
even Data Cloud will be swamped. Even Data Cloud will be swamped. It's important, and so is the trust layer stuff. But Agentforce will dominate. Yeah.
Well, guys, get some sleep.
Michael?
Don't let the energy swamp you. But I like what Michael said. Go meditate with the monks every morning.
You'll get the most out of it.
Yep. Thanks so much, guys.
Oh, our pleasure. It was really great.
Thank you, Vinnie. It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.